Shylock is one of Shakespeare's most complex, controversial, and enduring characters. As the Jewish moneylender in The Merchant of Venice, his role in the narrative transcends that of a conventional antagonist. Instead, Shylock embodies the social tensions, religious conflicts, and moral ambiguities of Renaissance Europe. His portrayal raises questions about justice, mercy, prejudice, and the nature of villainy, making him a central figure for literary and cultural analysis. Through Shylock, Shakespeare crafts a character who stands at the crossroads of sympathy and condemnation, reflecting a world shaped by entrenched discrimination and personal suffering. Role in the narrative. At the most basic level, Shylock drives the primary conflict of the play. Antonio, the titular merchant, approaches Shylock to secure a loan for his friend Bassanio, and Shylock offers money on the condition that Antonio sign a bond for a pound of his flesh. This contract becomes the focal point of the drama, ultimately leading to the climactic courtroom scene. Shylock also functions as a dramatic foil to Antonio. While Antonio is characterized as generous, noble, and self-sacrificing, Shylock is depicted, at least in the eyes of the Christian characters, as vengeful, calculating, and profit-obsessed. Yet this contrast is not straightforward. Antonio's generosity toward his friends is juxtaposed with his cruelty toward Shylock. Likewise, Shylock's desire for revenge, often framed as villainous, stems from years of insult, humiliation, and discrimination. This narrative dynamic complicates the audience's alignment, encouraging readers to question the reliability of the Christian characters' judgments and the social norms they represent. Through the bond plot, Shylock becomes the catalyst for the play's themes of law, mercy, and justice. His insistence on the strict literalness of the contract exposes the fragility of Venetian legal and moral systems. The courtroom trial reveals the hypocrisy of Venetian society. They rely on the justice of the law when it benefits them, but invoke mercy the moment the law threatens one of their own. Thus, Shylock's presence is essential for laying bare the contradictions of Christian morality as Shakespeare's audience understood it. Symbolic significance. Shylock's symbolic weight extends far beyond his literal role as a moneylender. He represents a constellation of anxieties circulating in Elizabethan society: religious otherness, economic change, and the perceived threat posed by outsiders. As a Jew living in Christian Venice, he is both indispensable and marginalized. His financial services are sought after by characters who disdain him, and he is tolerated only so long as he fulfills a transactional role. In this sense, Shylock symbolizes the paradox of minority existence in a dominant culture: useful but despised, needed but never accepted. Moreover, Shylock symbolizes the dangers of dehumanization. His famous speech, "Hath not a Jew eyes?" stands as a powerful assertion of shared humanity. In a play filled with mockery, insults, and caricatures of Jewishness, this moment pierces through prejudice and forces both characters and audience to confront the ethical implications of intolerance. Through Shylock's claim to universal human qualities, Shakespeare destabilizes the assumption that the Christian characters possess moral superiority. Shylock also symbolizes the theme of revenge. His fixation on claiming the pound of flesh reflects the corrosive power of resentment, born out of long-term abuse. The play suggests that while Shylock's desire for vengeance is harsh, it is also understandable, perhaps more comprehensible than the Christian's self-righteous cruelty. In this way, Shylock embodies the cycle of hatred perpetuated by systemic injustice. Finally, Shylock represents the law's vulnerability. His attempt to use the legal system as a shield highlights Venice's fragility, a society that boasts about impartial justice but simultaneously manipulates the law to maintain Christian dominance. The forced conversion Shylock suffers at the end symbolizes the triumph of social power over legal fairness. As a symbol, then, Shylock exposes the limits of tolerance in a society that claims moral authority. Broader implications. Shylock's character invites broader reflection on themes that remain relevant today: prejudice, identity, assimilation, and the consequences of oppression. In modern readings, Shylock is often interpreted not simply as a villain but as a tragic victim. His portrayal reveals the devastating effects of systemic discrimination. Shakespeare gives him moments of emotional depth, dignity, and moral insight that complicate any simple reading of him as an antagonist. For one, Shylock's relationship with his daughter Jessica demonstrates the human cost of cultural pressure and exclusion. Jessica's betrayal, stealing her father's money and converting to Christianity, can be read as both a personal tragedy for Shylock and a symbolic erasure of Jewish identity within Christian society. Her departure underscores the loneliness and alienation Shylock faces, amplifying his later fixation on material compensation as a substitute for emotional loss. Furthermore, Shylock's forced conversion to Christianity in the courtroom scene invites reflection on the violence inherent in compulsory assimilation. The Christian characters celebrate this outcome as merciful, but modern audiences often view it as a profound act of cruelty. The scene demonstrates how dominant cultures impose their values by coercion, undermining the ideals of mercy and justice they profess to uphold. Shylock's transformation is not a moral triumph but a political one, revealing the troubling power dynamics beneath the play's happy ending. Shylock also contributes to broader discussions about the nature of villainy. Shakespeare complicates the idea that evil arises from inherent personal traits. Instead, he suggests that the environment, including prejudice and mistreatment, shapes human responses. Shylock is neither a simple monster nor an uncomplicated hero. His desire for revenge is morally troubling, yet his motivations are deeply rooted in suffering. This complexity encourages audiences to move beyond simplistic moral binaries and recognize the interplay between individual agency and structural injustice. Conclusion. Shylock's characterization has had a profound afterlife in world culture. For centuries, he was interpreted through narrow stereotypes that reinforced anti-Semitic attitudes. Modern reinterpretations, however, increasingly portray Shylock with empathy, emphasizing Shakespeare's nuanced approach. His story continues to resonate because it reflects deep human questions. What does justice mean? Who decides mercy? And how do societies justify their mistreatment of the other?